Good morning, everyone. My name is Paco, and this is Coffee and Headlines. Welcome to another edition. It is Tuesday, April 21st. And just as every other day of the week, we get together, check out some of the latest headlines that are happening around the world, near and far. We have coffee together. We check in to make sure we know that we're doing okay. We connect. We figure out how to navigate through this new world that we live in. And today I have all kinds of fun things that I want to share with you. Yesterday, I survived my first day out wearing a face mask. It was like my first official day to do it, and I want to tell you how that went. I went shopping for some pretty face masks, and I'm going to tell you about that too. And we're going to go through our usual share of headlines, and then I'm going to share very special music that is very dear to my heart. So I hope you'll stick around, and I hope we will learn something new from one another today. While you're all getting comfortable getting your coffee, I'm going to tell you about my outing yesterday. Um, as you know, for me, the mask has been a lot, has been an emotional challenge as well as the whole logistic of wearing one. Um, and there I went in the car wearing my face mask. I learned a few things. Things get really warm in there. I posted on my personal Facebook page that now that the summer is coming, can you imagine the suntan marks that we're all going to get? I mean, how is that going to work out? A friend of mine just told me on the phone this morning, I mean, what about pimples? I mean, we're all going to get our faces. We don't know what's going to happen. And of course, this, my smartphone, it's not that smart. I mean, this thing is supposed to recognize my face. Well, it is not smart enough to recognize my face with my face mask on. So, whereas I would usually be driving and then at a stoplight, I would just lift my phone and figure out, okay, so who just rang or whatever. Nope. I think Apple computers should make their phones smarter. Anyhow, I made it to La Comer where I needed to do some shopping, and I was able to confirm because I asked that La Comer is not letting people into the store that are not wearing face masks. So now, just in case you were wondering, that's what you have to do. That's what we have to do. As I was driving through the city, I saw some people that were wearing them. I saw some people that were not. I think my favorite remark to that effect came from Pam Thompson this morning. I happened to glance something that she posted on her Facebook wall, and what Pam Thompson said, and I totally agree with her, instead of bitching about people that are not wearing face masks, just buy a bunch and distribute them as you go out. I mean, it's a nicer thing to do. And stop bitching, she said, and I totally agree with her. So as long as we're getting some of this stuff out of the way, of course, after after going to La Comer, I went to my appointment to check out face masks and get colorful, fabulous face masks for myself, and then we'll dive into that. But first, let me extend some good mornings because you're here. Um, let's see. Good morning, Tim. It's always good to see you back. Good morning, Gail. I'm glad to hear it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Buenos dias, Daniela. Yes, we want the pretty masks. Of course, we want the pretty masks. And I'll tell you all about how you can get your own pretty mask. Good morning, Rita. Um, oh, I'm so glad that you bring this up, Kathleen, because Buyer and Cellar the other night was absolutely beautiful. And maybe we should think of a way to connect so we can have a discussion group or something about some of these wonderful performances that we're so lucky to have access to. But I don't want to dive too much into Buyer and Cellar if you haven't seen it because it was a once opportunity. I don't think it's going to continue to be available on YouTube. But hey, maybe we could put together a Zoom chat at some point, and a bunch of us that want to have a conversation about specific shows that we've been watching. Maybe we can get together and compare some notes. Good morning, Elaine. It's great to see you here always, of course. Kathleen, good morning. Renee, good to see you. Margaret, I am so glad that you're back. Yes, the bitching makes us bitchy. Well, we all have a bitchy gene. We just need to harness it, I think. I never want to stop bitching, because bitching can be fun, I guess. Pam, I just mentioned you, and I mentioned your very, very appropriate remark this morning about, people that bitch about face masks, or rather people that are not wearing them. Just carry a bunch of extras, and I'm sure, Pam, you'll have a lot to comment. In fact, we would all love it, Pam, if at some point you would come live in the show. Let's have a little interview so that we can get a sense as to how hard you and your team and all the doctors and nurses in town are working. We should never stop being grateful to them. And of course, Joey and Isaac from the Gay Guide Vallarta, dear friends of mine. I hope you guys are doing great. Love to have you in the show at some point as well. So let's jump into some headlines so that we can get into the fun part of the show later on. Well, we've been talking about phase 3 in Mexico coming, and it has been finally announced by Hugo Lopez Gatell. This essentially means that, well, let me explain this here. Let me come back and talk to you, because rather than showing you the webpage, Mexico divides itself for health and wellness purposes into 4 zones. I didn't even know this, but apparently the way phase 3 has been measured in Mexico is once each one of these arbitrary 4 zones of the country reach a number of cases by the thousands, that's when we start looking at this as phase 3. Now, for those of us that are following how many people are getting the disease, obviously the previous phases have been about containing the virus as much as possible. Now, it is normal for the evolution of a virus, I understand, that you get to a point in which no matter how much you try to contain it, it's going to start going wild. And this is the phase in which we're going to see a lot of numbers of cases increase. But because we've been able to contain it enough during the previous phases, it's not going to be as bad, knock on wood, as it could have been if we hadn't been so careful. So for the government, it means that they start looking at numbers by the thousands. For us, it means we must continue to follow the same guidelines we've been following so far. So let's go back to this and make sure that I am not missing any important point here. Boom, 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 boom. No, that's pretty much the beginning of phase 3. I'm sure that we're going to continue to talk about this as we move forward. There are a number of newspapers that, of course, mention this, and I'm going to leave links to everything. And of course, since this phase is characterized by a sharp increase in cases, it's not surprising to see that all of a sudden Puerto Vallarta has 26 cases, 12 of them being staff members from the local hospitals. This is very unfortunate, but this is the nature of the beast, and it's going to continue headed in that direction. I stumbled upon an interesting article on this website that talks about how America's coffee shops just might survive this moment. I chose to share it with you. I haven't read it, but it seems to have an interesting point for the fact that while some restaurants are struggling, the one thing that, according to this article, will continue to strive is coffee shops. So maybe there's some of you that are thinking about how to reinvent yourselves. Maybe you're thinking, or you were thinking about having a restaurant, and maybe what makes sense to you in this new normal would be to have a coffee shop. I don't know, but I'm going to read it because it looks really interesting. Then I stumbled into this: Stratford Festival streaming Shakespeare performances for free. How wonderful is that? They've announced that they're going to stream 12 Shakespeare performances over a 4-month period, and they have a whole schedule on their website. I'm going to share that with you as soon as we're done. We're going to put that in the show notes. Excuse me. I also discovered this morning that there is going to be a new streaming service called Broadway On Demand. Clearly, we're all liking the fact that we have access to all these musicals and all these performances. So this is going to be a new channel for cord cutters. And we remember cord cutters are those of us who, instead of choosing to tune in to the regular channels that television offers, we have these choices in programming, such as Netflix and HBO and so forth and so on. And this new one is going to be called Broadway on Demand. They're going to offer new plays. The service will launch mid-May with its 30 Days of Opening Night series, beginning with a live stream free concert from the Hollywood's Bourbon Room, which will be a fundraiser for performers, playwrights, stage crew, and more who have been affected or out of work due to the pandemic. Um, it has a link so that if you want to sign up for this, you can click on it. And again, I will share this with you on the show notes. Let me go back for a second to my main screen so we can give a few extra hellos before we continue forward. Boom, 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 boom. So do I, Mihan. This is so much fun. Yesterday, I had a great time putting together what we were going to share today, and this has become part of my regular routine. Oh my God. Elaine tells us that Buyer and Cellar is still available on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot emphasize enough how wonderful this production was. We've talked about this before. It's a monologue in which this unemployed actor is offered the opportunity to work at Barbara Streisand's private basement shopping mall. And this is based on a fact, not the fact that she hired someone to look after it, but she does have a shopping mall in her basement, according to her own coffee table book. So I will share the link again because it was stunning. It was so wonderful to see how an actor who is used to having the laugh reaction from an audience, and because the play is absolutely funny, clearly, and I know this because I happen to work in the local production, there are a lot of moments in which the show stops because the audience reacts. So imagine all of a sudden you're giving all this energy as an actor, and the actor just has to continue without the feedback that audiences give. So his performance was absolutely beautifully paced. The set was designed as an L-shaped set in which there was one camera on one side, there was another camera on another. So even though it was streamed from his own apartment, it was absolutely engaging. And I certainly hope that it will inspire a number of creators here in the city who might be interested in reinventing themselves. I mean, all the local theater movers and shakers, it's going to be great. I'll put the link again in the show notes after we're done. So let's see. And I'm sorry to get all excited about Buyer and Cellar, but it was stunning. Marge, it's great to see you. What happened? My face froze. I'm still suffering from the effects of 420. That's why my face freezes. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know why my face froze. Maybe you have bad internet, but hopefully my face will unfreeze in a moment. Of course, Cesar did a wonderful job. Yes, those of us that enjoyed, well, again, I worked in the production in town. So as much as I enjoyed being able to watch it while I was busy making it happen, I very much enjoyed the play. It was fantastic. Cesar did a wonderful job. Thank you, Michael Mihal Gray, for getting me hooked. Paco, your sessions are awesome. Claude, I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad you're getting something out of what we're sharing. This is so wonderful. Tamara, good morning. Momo, see, I remembered your name. I knew that I would remember this. Anyhow, there will be a huge meteor shower tonight in case someone might be staying home. Let's hope for clear skies, and let's hope that we get to see some of this meteor shower. Anyhow, moving right along, let me tell you a little bit about the FaceMax experience. Again, I identified this Facebook page that some of you were kind enough to share with me about a company called Magenta. And we've been sharing the link in the show notes. We'll share it again. Somebody among you, someone, I forget who it was, mentioned that you had gotten face masks from them. So I called and they gave me an appointment. And the place is located in Colonia Independencia. I'm not going to give you their address because obviously I feel much better if you get it from there. instead of from me, but it was very, very easy to get to their place. Something else that I want to point out, they usually welcome you at the sidewalk. They don't let you into their atelier, into their workshop area, because I told them that I was sharing this information with you. They were gracious enough to let me in and allow me to take some photographs to share with you, which I very, very, very much appreciate the vote of confidence in allowing me into their space. Anyhow, Magenta is the brainchild of Tatiana Torres. Here she is working at her sewing machine. She is a local fashion designer. She's been creating garments for women and clearly found a need to reinvent herself by doing face masks. She works with her sister Carolina and with her sister-in-law Perla. As you can see, they have a small workshop. It's probably one of the bedrooms in their apartment. That's where all the magic takes place. I should also point out that they were wearing face masks all the time. I'm sure they were as concerned about me as I was concerned about them. They offered me a gel to clean my hands, even though I had just done the same thing. I had just used gel at La Comer. So again, they were super, super wonderful. I got a chance to see how the masks were produced. It's not easily apparent on these photos, but here's an entire row of face masks that had just been put together. And it was great. You're looking at the top row was size large ones, and the bottom row was the size medium masks. They have them in different sizes. And now I'm going to show off my purchase, and I'm going to share some cleaning tips and background information that I got from them. And I will answer some of your questions. I see that Renee is asking if they deliver, and we'll get into those details in a second. They do deliver. So here we go. This is how they gave them to you. So imagine yourself going to their place or having them delivered. What they do is, because they have many different types of fabric, and that changes on a daily basis. If you say, I want to buy some masks, I want you to deliver them to me, they'll probably send you photos of their latest fabric so that you can choose, or you might say, just make sure that it fits. It's entirely up to you. I wanted something that was fabulously coordinated with the clothes that I wear. So for me, it was important to be given choices. So if you have them delivered, they might send you photos. If you go to their place, they will go down to the sidewalk and show you a little box with a bunch of these perfectly wrapped face masks for you to make your choices. So here we go. I'm going to open mine so that I can share them with you. Da-da-da-da-da. I got two of them. And, okay, model number one is, and I'm just opening these. I didn't rehearse this. So here we go. My face mask. And I'm still confused as to, oh, I think I know how this goes. See, that's the chin part. So, oh, this fits much better than what I had before. So what you're supposed to do with these is they have these streams. And of course, these can move about. So the first thing you want to do is make a choice. Do you want the whole string to go around the back of your head, or do you want to tie them so that it's a little shorter and it goes behind your ear? That's a personal choice, but the nice thing about these is that the string is elastic. It moves about, so one of the first things you want to do once you choose the design that you like is you want to decide how you want to tie this. Let me show you the other one. What do you think? Do you like it? It goes with my shirt. And then because I love the color green, I got this one that makes me feel like I am a tomato sandwich or something. But I'm pretty happy with these. I was able to see how they, no, Kitty, you cannot play with that, go away. I was very happy with these. I was able to see how the inside layer is a different type of fabric, and there's an interior layer between one side and the other that makes this even more effective at keeping the micro chingaderas from reaching other people. Another couple of comments about these. They also make neoprene ones. Neoprene being that kind of squishy material that we use for skin diving suits and surfing and so forth and so on. She did say that the neoprene ones are better for people that are out and about working because they're easier to take on and off, to put on and off, but they're warmer. I mean, these ones, the one that I was wearing yesterday was warm. I can only imagine how colorful summer is going to be this year when we have to be out and about wearing these face masks. But hey, what are you gonna do? I asked her about cleaning them, and I asked her, so what's the process? How do you wash them? Well, she suggests not putting them in the washer because the string might get cut up with other clothes, etc., etc. What she actually does is when she told me, when my husband comes home, I take his mask, I put it in a small plastic container, kind of like what you would have, what sour cream comes in, or maybe just a glass, drinking glass, and she soaks them in a solution of pine sol and water. So any home disinfectant that you have that you clean your house with, dilute it, and just soak the face masks for a few minutes, 15, half an hour, whatever, definitely more than 15 minutes. I would soak mine for an hour and then just let them hang dry, rinse them with just clean water and let them hang dry. And they should be ready to use the next day. If you feel the need or the want to wash them, then just use some kind of delicate soap for delicate fabrics and just hand wash them as you would. But I think the use of disinfectant is a great idea. Let's take a look at some of these questions. Bum 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 bum. Kelly, it's great to see your comment. Louise Anderson tells us that she got 6 for face masks from Magenta. They delivered. Yes, they have home delivery. They may not be able to deliver if you're far away, or they may not be able to deliver on the day that you want them. And you will definitely have to pay a little bit extra if you have them home delivered. But the quality of craftsmanship is absolutely wonderful. They didn't give you an address. Well, they're working from home, Colleen. So I'm sure they don't necessarily want to give their address to everyone unless somebody is actually going to go through the purchase. But again, they told me that they're used to having people pick them up. Oh, and something very important, they speak English. So because I asked, I know that you, my friends, this is for English-speaking locals, and I wanted to make sure that you would feel comfortable buying from them. Do they deliver? Yes, we've talked about this. Covers well. Thank you very much, Tamara. Yes, great comments. Tropical mask. Of course, we live in the tropics. Oh my God. Louise and I have the same mask. I love it. I won't wear it doing something illegal. Fine. I'll try not to misbehave out there. Claude says, Paco, the straight line at the bottom goes to your chin and the bump at the top goes at the nose. Thank you very much. I'll be rehearsing. It's crazy that one could be so clumsy with a new piece of clothing. But again, I have renewed respect for teenage girls that go through their bras for the first time. I really do. Marcia, it's great to see you. It's great. I hope you guys are doing well. Tamara, hi, Margaret Paris. Yes, you guys can talk amongst yourself. I love it. Lots of good comments. Phone number for masks. I will share all the contact information, the Facebook page, as soon as we're done. Let's see. I promised you something special. I told you that I wanted to share a special piece of music with you today. And that's what we're going to do now. Hang on tight, and here we go. This is the Kusevitsky Music Shed. It is located at Tanglewood, a music venue in the towns of Lenox and Stockbridge in western Massachusetts. Tanglewood has been the summer home of the Boston Symphony Orchestra since 1937. Commonly known as The Shed, The open-air venue was named after Serge Koussevitzky, a Russian-born conductor and composer who served as conductor for the Boston Symphony Orchestra from 1936 to 1949. Since its foundation, Tanglewood has provided an unparalleled cultural experience for music students and music lovers alike who flock to the Music Center during the summer months to enjoy an increasingly varied series of concerts and educational programs. From Aaron Copland to Leonard Bernstein, from Yo-Yo Ma to John Williams, Tanglewood has become a favorite musical playground for many. Back in 1940, Tanglewood was known as the Berkshire Music Center. And that year, Koussevitzky had wanted to open the music season with a new composition, a big, bold, festive fanfare. But who would compose it? Koussevitzky turned to American composer Randall Thompson, who was particularly noted for his choral works. Thompson had attended Harvard University, where he became assistant professor of music and choir director at Wellesley College, and whose notable students included Leonard Bernstein. Koussevitzky chose Thompson in part because Harvard University students were scheduled to sing on opening night, and Thompson was a Harvard graduate. Again, and back to 1940, Koussevitzky had commissioned a fanfare for voices to be performed at the opening exercises that year, on July 8, which happens to be my birthday. But Koussevitzky did not get the joyous work he was anticipating to receive from the composer. Something terrible was happening in the world. World War II had started in 1939 and was to continue until 1945. On September 1939, France had declared war on Germany. The situation between the two countries deteriorated progressively through the following months, and it would take 6 weeks, starting on May 10, 1940, for the German forces to defeat the Allied forces, conquering France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. It was on June 14, 1940, that German soldiers marched past the Arch of Triumph in Paris after its surrender. At the end of the campaign, Germany suffered 156,000 casualties, while the Allies lost 2,292,000. In France alone, 90,000 were killed, 200,000 were wounded, and 1,800,000 were captured. It was less than a month from the season inauguration at Tanglewood, and while the whole world mourned, Randall Thompson had less than a month to write the triumphant fanfare that Serge Koussevitzky had commissioned for the commencement ceremony on July 10, 1940. It was Monday, July 8, 1940, and Randall Thompson had been so preoccupied with another commission, he did not submit his composition until the very day of its premiere. The work was called Alleluia, an unaccompanied piece for soprano, alto, tenor, and bass chorus. Choral director G. Wallace Woodworth was to conduct the premiere that same evening. When he finally saw the score less than an hour before taking the stage, he noticed that the text consisted of 2 words, Alleluia, repeated throughout the work, and the word Amen, to be sung once at the end. With no time to rehearse, and knowing that the singers would have to pretty much sight read the composition during its premiere, he is said to have said, "Well, text at least is one thing we don't have to worry about." In the end, Serge Koussevitzky did not get the big, bold, festive fanfare he had expected. Randall Thompson simply could not deliver something of that nature, given the circumstances around the world. Instead, he delivered a quiet and introspective piece that has become one of the most loved works in the choral repertoire and Thompson's most popular composition. Today is April 21, and we celebrate Alleluia composer Randall Thompson on his birthday. He was born in 1899 in New York City and died July 9, 1984, at age 85. So there you have it. I hope I didn't lose you there. Just think about a couple of things, and this is all for context. Number one, think about situations in our recent past in which we have lost huge numbers of people, and think about how artists throughout history have chosen or have had no choice but to take those mourning periods to rise to the occasion by creating thought-provoking works. Um, Secondly, think about the exhilarating excitement of being half an hour prior, 45 minutes prior to your performance. You're about to conduct a piece of music and you're looking at the score for the first time. The singers did not have a chance to rehearse this piece of music. And it's important to note that to date, every single year at Tanglewood, during commencement ceremonies, since that date, since 1940, the commencement ceremonies are always begun with a performance of Randall Thompson's Alleluia. In any other circumstances, I would take this moment to share with you a version of Randall Thompson's Alleluia for all of us to share together. But of course, given the constraints of copyright and such complications, we cannot do this live or else YouTube will come and spank me. But I wanted to share this because, again, today is Randall Thompson's birthday. Secondly, Alleluia is a piece that I've had the privilege to sing and conduct a number of times. It is one of my favorite pieces of music. It is very thoughtful, introspective, just wonderful. So I'm going to leave you with a few versions in the show notes for you to listen to, and consider it voluntary homework. The piece is 5.5 minutes long, and if you do go and listen to it, I do hope it will bring some comfort to your soul. I will share with you my favorite recording of it by a group from France called Mikrokosmos. I will share with you a beautiful version of it done with a string quartet, which also gives us another flavor to the music. It was written for chorus, but there's this string quartet that decided, let's record it. And last but not least, I'm going to share with you a live version of it with audience coughs and everything, because we must never forget, as much as we're benefiting so much from all these performances we can enjoy online, we must never forget about the thrill of having the opportunity to enjoy art created live in front of our very eyes. So let's take a final look at comments from you, because I saw a couple of interesting things coming in, and then we can go on with our day. Pam Thompson shares some important tips. Important when removing the mask, hands have to be super clean. And no, my hands are not always clean, but I'll make sure that my hands are always clean when I'm putting on and off the mask. Then we have, is it possible to post tips for wearing face masks? Absolutely. I think we just did. But Pam Thompson, if you have any other recommendations for us, by all means, please feel free to share them with us, and we will share them with everybody else. Georgia is most appreciative of your work. I am so appreciative of you, Georgia. Again, we've said it in the last broadcast. You brought a lot of wonderful and kind things to our community, and we must never forget that. Thank you for the kind words, and I am so glad you enjoyed this, and thank you very much for the good vibrations. Thank you very much for your comment, Kathleen. And I just love doing the research. It really fills my life with so much joy when I get to share new insights about the world, and I'm very grateful, always so very grateful to you for being so receptive of all this craziness. It is 11:05, and the rest of the day is mine. The rest of the day is yours. seize your day, wear your face masks, stay healthy, stay sane. If you're feeling a little insane, if you're feeling like doing something that is complicated or troublesome, just don't wear this or this, because these are the designs that I'm wearing, and I don't want us to get confused. If you get to doing something crazy or illegal, just wear a different model. And of course, I will see you back here tomorrow morning, 10:30 in the morning. Be well. Have a great day.